Hi, I'm Michael from the violin shop at Riverton Music, and if you have just obtained a viola, there are a couple of things that you might like to know. First of all, I do recommend that you have a blanket in the case, a blanket of some sort. This case comes with a blanket. You can use like a hand towel or something nice and kind of thick and padded. You can fold it over. The reason that you want that is not only to help keep the instrument clean, but to keep it from moving around in the case. Bridges break commonly. That's the most frequent repair that I have to do in the shop, is carve a bridge that's been broken. And it happens oftentimes inside of the case. The case will get bumped and the instrument will bang against the top of the case. And having a blanket in the case helps prevent that sort of breakage. It's very, very handy. Of course, you want to use common sense when handling the instrument. The best way to handle the instrument is pretty much by the neck and the lower end, down by the chin rest and tailpiece. It's the best way to handle it. Keeps it from getting too dirty and all of that. If it does get dirty, you can polish it. We have a kit that comes with polish, a piece of cloth, and some rosin. Now, the cloth I recommend using just to wipe excess rosin off. As you play the instrument, you get rosin dust on it, and you can just wipe it off just like this. Be very, very careful around the bridge. It's under a lot of pressure. It can fall down. If you're careful, you should never knock it over. And you can just wipe the rosin dust off like that. You can even wipe it off of the strings a little bit. Occasionally you'll want to polish it with the polish, which also helps clean the instrument. For that, in the shop I just use a paper towel. I just fold it like this, give the polish a good shake, and I only use the white polish. I don't use the yellow polishes. They tend to be oil-based and they can get into micro cracks and things and make later repairs difficult. But I just load a bit of polish on the paper towel just like that, and I wipe it onto the instrument. Wipe it around. I rub it like I'll give it a good rubbing where it needs to be cleaned if I've got some residue of some kind on the instrument, and then I take a dry portion of the cloth and then I just wipe all the polish away. It should leave it nice and shiny, or at least as shiny as the particular instrument can be. And as I say, you shouldn't have to do that too often. You don't want to overload it with polish. That can also be a little unhealthy for the instrument. But an occasional cleaning is a very good thing. Like I say, maybe once a month. I do it even less on my personal violin. It's just up to you. When you are playing the instrument, most of the time that you play it, it's going to need a good tuning. Now, on the viola, you've got C, G, D, and A. Those are the names of your strings. You can get pitch pipes for each of the strings. You can tune them to a piano. You can get an electronic tuner. There are numerous methods. The important things to remember are that when you're tuning, you need to push in on the peg, like that. Push in that way. That's what gives it the pressure. And don't tune over the pitch of the string. Only tune up to the pitch. If you go over by very much at all, you can break a string very, very easily. That's incredibly common, especially when you're just figuring out how to tune it. It's best, if you can actually, to have a teacher or someone like that tune it. Aside from that, no bumping it. Try not to bump it. Handle it carefully. Just use good common sense, and you should be okay with the instrument itself. Now, the other thing that you'll want to know about is the bow. The bow requires rosin in order to work. Now, the job of rosin is to get the hair of the bow to grip the strings so that they pull on the strings a little bit. It's easy to over rosin a bow. You don't want to over rosin a bow, because then that leaves a ton of rosin dust on the instrument, and if you get enough buildup, it can fuse with the varnish and be a real trick to get off. When you go to play, I like to tighten the bow up enough so that in the center section, where the hair is closest to the stick, I can sort of fit my pinky in there. I don't normally do that though. Try not to touch the hair because it's very easy to get the hair full of oils from your hands, and then it won't take the rosin or grip the string very well. But just as an illustration, I don't recommend you do this, you should be able to fit maybe like a pen or a pencil in there. As I say, I don't recommend that you do that. That's just to show you about how close it should be. When you're finished playing the instrument, you turn the screw at the end to loosen the bow again, and the hair should be, if not touching the stick, very close to touching the stick. The other thing that you'll want to know about the bow, and we touched on this earlier, is rosining. When the bow starts to feel like it's not pulling enough out of the string, it might be time for rosin. I just take a cake of rosin and just run the bow up and down, all the way up and down, just evenly. And I put just a little bit on. I put on just enough so that the instrument will start to play right, and as soon as it feels like it's starting to grip right, don't put any more on. You don't want to over rosin, as I've said. If you over rosin, you'll just have to play it out, meaning just keep playing until it's got about the right amount of rosin. Try to keep your instrument as clean as you can, and it might sound a little sort of hissy, what in the shop we call surface noise. But if you just put on a little bit of rosin, just enough to get it to play right, play it until it feels like you need more, that should get you by. And those are the very, very basics of how to treat your viola.